So our final product cost that we have to consider is the manufacturing overhead. And we usually account for manufacturing overhead on both a variable and a fixed cost basis. So just to remind you that the variable costs go up and down with our production, and then our fixed costs will just stay the same. And so this is for all of the other costs that are incurred for the factory that isn't direct materials or direct labor. So we're going to start again with the production in units because these are our product costs. And we're basing them off the production, not the sales. And the question should tell us which costs are variable, or they would just lump all of the costs as variable and all of the costs as fixed, and then tell us which rate each one is. So with the variable manufacturing overhead, it's just lumping them all together. So in part 7 it says Royal Company uses a variable manufacturing overhead rate of $1 per unit produced. So that's what I'm going to use. And then my fixed manufacturing overhead is $50,000, and included in that $50,000 is $20,000 for depreciation. So I'm going to put the dollar in here. Oops, not there. I'm going to put the dollar right here. Oh, I don't have my mouse on me right now, so there we go. Oh. So I'm just using my keyboard, the mouse on my keyboard, which isn't the best. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just take the 26,000 and multiply that by the dollar. And I'll just put that as dollars, just to remind you now that that's a dollar amount. This is a unit amount and this is a dollar amount. And now I'm going to add in my fixed manufacturing overhead costs, and the question told me that it was 50,000. So we can just copy and paste that across. And then when we add those two together, then that ends up being my total manufacturing overhead costs. So I'm just adding the 50 and the 26. And then you can just move the formula across. So just remember that regardless if you produce 1 unit or 26,000 units, your fixed costs are always going to be the same. So they'll stay at 50. But the variable costs are increasing and decreasing with the amount that you produce. Now, normally I'm fine to just stop here, but what happens is I also need to do a cash budget. So I'm going to do a cash budget using the information off of the schedule. But before I do, I just have to back out my non-cash costs. And in this case, my non-cash costs are the depreciation. So there could be more than just depreciation. If you have any prepaids, that could be included in here as well. So just remember, depreciation is just an accrual that we do in accounting in order to systematically reduce the cost of the asset that we purchased. So we actually did the cash outlay in a period previous to any of these months. So that's why we're backing it out. So here I actually have two subtotals, which feed into two different schedules. So I'll just put a dollar amount here. So these amounts will go into my cash budget, and then these amounts are going to be considered when I'm calculating my cost of goods sold and also my ending inventory amounts. Actually, no, just my cost of goods sold amount. Okay. Yeah, and my ending inventory amounts.